In a world that feels, well, increasingly complex, just brimming with endless decisions and these ethical tightropes, have you ever wished for some kind of ancient compass, something really timeless to guide you? Well, today, that's exactly what we're doing. We're taking a deep dive into one of the world's most enduring texts, the Mahabharata. And while, yeah, it's often seen as this grand mythological epic, our source for today excerpts from Mahabharata's timeless wisdom for modern life paints a much broader picture. It calls it a spiritual manual, a political handbook, even like a deep journal of human psychology, all wrapped up in this one massive story.
Right. And our mission, really, in this deep dive is
Oh,
to pull out those key nuggets of wisdom,
yeah.
the insights from this ancient Indian epic. We want to show you how these teachings, they still feel incredibly fresh, how they can actually guide you in modern life, whether that's leadership challenges, tricky ethical calls, family stuff, career moves, or even just, personal inner growth. It's really quite something how, even though the Kurukshetra war happened thousands of years ago, the dilemmas, the choices, they feel eerily similar to our own today.
Absolutely. And when we talk about dilemmas, the Mahabharata really puts a spotlight on what our source calls ethics in the gray zone. This isn't some simple story about clear-cut good versus evil, is it?
Not at all.
So how does the epic really push us maybe to rethink our assumptions about good and evil when we look at characters like, say, Karna or Dronacharya?
That's precisely where its genius lies, I think. It forces us to move beyond just looking at the outcomes. You have to dig into the complexity of intention, the nyat, and also dharma, duty, or righteousness.
Right.
So you take Karna, for instance. He's bound by this unwavering loyalty, right? But that loyalty leads him to make choices that, well, ultimately cause immense suffering. Or Dronacharya, a revered teacher, but conflicted by his allegiance to a kingdom, ends up fighting against his own beloved students.
Wow.
The epic isn't saying their actions were right, exactly, but it makes us understand the deep, often contradictory motivations behind them. It's really a masterclass in nuance. And that mirrors our own modern gray areas perfectly.
It really does. I mean, think about our own lives. We constantly face those kinds of moral dilemmas, don't we? Balancing, say, personal gain against loyalty or maybe truth against compassion, modern workplaces, politics, even just our friendships. They're riddled with these gray choices.
Exactly.
And the Mahabharata invites us to look not just at what happened, but really dig into the why.
Precisely. And this isn't just about individual choices either. If we sort of connect this to leadership, the epic offers this truly unique model in Krishna. I mean, he never even picked up a weapon himself in the war.
Right.
Yet he basically orchestrated the Pandavas' victory.
It's astounding how he did that, just purely through strategy, timing, intelligence. How does that translate to the kind of leadership maybe we need today?
Well, what's so striking about that model, and I think so directly applicable now, is how it completely redefines strength. Krishna's brilliance wasn't in fighting the battles himself. It was in guiding from behind, empowering others, thinking long-term,
Okay.
and somehow maintaining calm amidst absolute chaos. He really embodies leading through ethical intelligence and strategic foresight.
Not just brute force.
Exactly. Not just brute force or direct confrontation. And you see this in business, right? In any organization. The true visionaries are often those who can see beyond the immediate fight and steer the ship with that kind of wisdom.
Yeah, that makes sense. And, for anyone listening who's ever felt overwhelmed or maybe stood at a moment of intense self-doubt, the Bhagavad Gita, it's nestled right inside the Mahabharata, and it really feels like the ultimate self-help guide, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Spoken by Krishna to Arjuna right there on the battlefield, a spiritual answer to what sounds like a profound psychological breakdown.
It's incredible, actually, how its verses keep resonating. You find them in therapy contexts, in leadership training, just in daily life guidance. It's core ideas like detachment from the results, cultivating self-awareness, focusing on your purpose over the pressure. These are echoed in so many modern self-help approaches.
Yeah.
The key takeaway from the Gita, I think, isn't about apathy or not caring.
Right.
It's about dedicating yourself fully to the process, your effort, your choices, rather than getting fixated on an outcome you can't entirely control anyway. It's about being present, having purpose in your actions.
Presence and purpose. I like that.
Yeah.
Now, let's get personal for a moment. The Mahabharata is kind of infamous for its incredibly complex family dynamic.
Oh, yeah. chuckles slightly.
You've got Duryodhana's simmering envy, Dhritarashtra's blinding favoritism for his son, Gandhari's silent spectatorship, Shakuni's just pure manipulation. It's all there. Every shade of family drama imaginable.
And honestly, it almost feels like you're watching some kind of intense family reality show, doesn't it?
It really does.
Because if we connect this to the bigger picture, these exact dynamics, well, sadly, they're common. In families, sure, but also in corporate environments, even within friend groups today.
Sure.
The epic serves as this powerful mirror, showing us that things like emotional maturity, clear communication, and taking a firm stand for Dharma, for what's right. These are timeless tools for navigating those tricky personal politics and, frankly, maintaining your sanity.
That brings us right to that concept, Dharma. Our source makes it really clear. Dharma isn't simply about religion.
No, it's much broader.
It's about righteous conduct, right? And maybe every character's real battle in the epic was internal, asking, what is my Dharma, my duty, my right path? As a king, a son, a wife, a warrior, a friend.
And this raises such a profoundly important question for us today, too. We constantly ask ourselves similar things, don't we? Should I speak the truth if it's going to hurt someone? Should I help someone if it kind of goes against the official rules? Should I choose my personal comfort, or should I listen to my conscience? The lesson seems profound. Dharma is about doing the right thing at the right time for the right reason, even if it's uncomfortable or unpopular or just goes against what's easy.
Right. And it also teaches us maybe that simply being good isn't always enough. The source points this out, the failure of the good guys. You look at figures like Yudhishthir or Bhishma, even Karna in his own way, all considered righteous men.
Definitely.
Yet they make mistakes or sometimes fail to act in ways that inadvertently lead to disaster.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Yeah. What does goodness truly mean if it doesn't lead to decisive ethical action when it counts? This is such a crucial insight for us. Being nice or simply moral isn't enough sometimes to navigate complex situations. You need wisdom, yes, but also decisive action, courage. That's what's necessary to turn truth or goodness into a positive outcome. And what's fascinating here is the idea that inaction, especially when you're facing injustice, can itself be a dharma, wrong conduct.
So good intentions without the courage to act can actually cause harm.
Exactly. It's a tough lesson, but a vital one.
Wow. Okay, shifting gears slightly. The Mahabharata also gives a really powerful voice to women, even within that patriarchal setting. You have Draupadi, bold, brilliant, absolutely central to the story, yet she suffers that horrific public humiliation.
A pivotal moment.
And Kunti, having to make these impossible choices as a mother. Amba, whose singular quest for revenge ultimately drives a key part of the war.
And if we connect this to the present, no, it's a stark reminder, isn't it, that women often still struggle for voice, for dignity, for agency, for choices in modern society.
Yeah.
The Mahabharata highlights both the immense strength and, yes, the deep suffering of its female characters. It showcases their undeniable impact on history and society. The lesson for us, perhaps, is that empowerment comes not just from, say, physical strength, but from wisdom, from a resilient spirit, and from fearlessly questioning unjust norms.
That's powerful. Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. This idea that the whole Kurukshetra war itself is a metaphor.
Ah, yes. The inner battle.
Right. It's not just an external battle fought with armies. It's the perpetual battlefield of our own mind. So Arjuna's confusion before the war, that's like our own self-doubt. Duryodhana's consuming jealousy, that reflects our own inner demons, maybe.
Totally.
And Krishna's guiding voice, that's perhaps our inner wisdom, our conscience trying to speak up.
That's it, exactly. You've nailed it. We're all, in a way, fighting our personal Mahabharatas every single day.
Yeah.
Whether we're, choosing a career path, navigating a really challenging relationship, making ethical calls at work, or just trying to manage our own emotions day to day. It's this constant inner war for clarity, for purpose, for peace. And it's truly remarkable how this ancient text is finding such new life and relevance now through modern mediums.
Absolutely. With today's tools, you see YouTube explainers, podcasts like this one, countless reinterpreted books. The Mahabharata is reaching new generations more than ever before.
It really is.
Modern thinkers are constantly unpacking its timeless messages for today's unique problems.
You see it everywhere, from therapy rooms looking at emotional intelligence to business schools studying strategic leadership. From spiritual teachers guiding inner growth to political commentators trying to dissect complex dilemmas. The Mahabharata isn't some dusty artifact.
No.
It's really a living, breathing guide for life. So if we sort of bring this all together, the central thesis, the main point, truly, is that the Mahabharata is far, far more than just a tale of war. It is really, at its heart, an unparalleled guide to living a purposeful and ethical life.
And as the epic itself timelessly advises us, it's a chilling and hopeful thought, really, all at once. What has happened will happen again. What is now was once before.
Right. The Mahabharata, through this incredibly rich tapestry of characters and dilemmas, it offers us a profound mirror. A mirror to our own minds, and also a practical map, you could say, to navigate right and wrong, and maybe a manual to live with purpose in this often noisy and confusing world.
So maybe, as you go about your day after listening to this, reflect on a specific aspect of your own life. Perhaps it's a career path you're considering, or a challenging relationship you're in, or an ethical dilemma you're facing right now. Consider which of these personal Mahabharatas we talked about today resonates most strongly with you. And maybe, just maybe, what nugget of ancient wisdom from this deep dive might offer you some new guidance, or perhaps just a fresh perspective.